Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Bill Spencer, Teams Engineering, and I'm pleased today to be joined by Eunice Lowe, Ramesh Manian, and Danny Garber, who will be presenting the AI Fast Start, how to be using Microsoft Teams for your collaborative AI projects. Take it away, Eunice.
Thanks, Bill. Welcome, everybody. My name is Eunice Lowe, as Bill stated. The purpose of this webinar today is really to focus on what you can do in Teams to bring AI into your Teams apps. So we're going to be fairly focused on what you can and cannot do in Teams, and also what is available in Teams specifically. I know Copilot covers a wide range of products, but for today, we're going to stick to Teams. Here's a high-level agenda. And now that people have had a chance to see what we have teed up for today, let's get started. For people new to the subject, we're just going to walk through what's available specific to Teams development today. First off, we have Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is a Microsoft offering that allows you to use Microsoft 365 Copilot as part of your Microsoft 365 service offering. It does cover all of the components of Microsoft 365, Microsoft Graph, and our foundational models. The Copilot stack allows you to bring in your own extensibility with plugins, graph connectors in the Teams AI library, and integrate that into the Microsoft Copilot offering or your own Copilots built using Azure OpenAI and the Teams AI library. What Microsoft can also add as part of the Microsoft Copilot offering is our foundational models, AI infrastructure, and AI orchestration, which exists within the Microsoft Cloud today. The other option to bring AI to your Teams environment is to build something using the Teams AI library. The Teams AI library is a development library that allows you to quickly build a Teams-enabled bot that is able to connect to the LLM or large language model of your choice. And that's how you bring AI in today. Later today, we're going to go over how this could work by connecting this to an Azure OpenAI large language model. Okay. Now that we know the two options available today, how do we know what we want to build and how we build it? This first video shows the Copilot experience available in Teams if you have a Copilot license today. Copilot in Teams generates summaries from content inside your Teams structure today, your meetings and your chats. The area in which you see your summary is not extensible today. And we'll see that experience here in just a couple seconds.
Copilot in Teams makes every meeting a productive one. Here, you're in a meeting with your team. You can ask Copilot to summarize what's happened so far. Copilot summarizes who said what and what points were made, capturing the spirit of the discussion. And as the meeting progresses, you can check in on where people stand. You can even ask Copilot what questions are unresolved. It is just amazing to see this happen in real time during a meeting.
Microsoft 365 Copilot also offers an extensible experience where you can bring in your own search-based message extensions, graph connectors, and plugins, which you may already have seen it build. Please check our Microsoft.com website for the full list of graph connectors that work today, and also tune in to Ignite to hear about more extensibility options that are coming soon. This extensibility option allows you to integrate your existing apps into the Microsoft 365 Copilot experience that we can see in this next video.
Business Chat works across all your data and apps to help you do things you've never been able to do before. Let's say you're preparing for a customer meeting. You start by asking Copilot to summarize all your recent customer interactions, meetings, content you've shared, any issues, and deliverables. Copilot works across your calendar, emails, chats, documents, and meetings to find all the pertinent information. Now you've got a concise summary, complete with citations. You can hover over the citations to verify sources or learn more. You know product lead times are likely to come up in the conversation, so you ask Copilot to help. Copilot combs through all your documents, meetings, emails, files, and company resources to get you what you need. With Copilot, you're always prepared.
So here's a quick table that shows you when you choose to extend, what options you have and the best use cases for them. If you have an existing search-based message extension today, you can extend this to Copilot, which will then allow Microsoft 365 Copilot to read data from external systems, search for and retrieve information from index data sets and third-party clouds, and coming soon, perform actions on a user's behalf. I'll give people a few minutes to take a look at the slide. Again, this recording will be available after the fact, so you can always come back and cross-reference. Again, for the most up-to-date scenario to capability mapping, please do check our Microsoft.com website. This is a rapidly changing space. If Copilot Extensibility isn't for you because you have an idea or some pre-built Azure OpenAI idea that you want to bring to your Teams AI. Either you have proprietary data sets or you have something specific you want to implement, Teams AI Library would be the solution for you. What's available today is conversational chat, message extensions, and invoking message actions. The feature team is continuing to add more feature richness as we go along. So please, again, check the GitHub repo for the latest on new changes and functionality. To talk a little bit more about how we build something with Teams AI Library, I'm going to pass the mic over to my counterpart, Ramesh, who's going to talk a little bit about what his team has already built and has working with customers. Over to you, Ramesh.
Is a personal assistant demo. And I want to caution and repeat the disclaimer. The demo contains information that are mocked up, that are not real. Want to make sure that it is very clear that the company names that may be real, but the demo, the content itself is mocked up. The personal assistant demo that you're going to see has multiple things that you're going to be interested in as you are developing Copilots and AI-based solutions in your organization. One is the ability for you to have your choice of model. Azure OpenAI gives you multiple models such as DaVinci, GPT 3.5 Turbo, GPT-4, or maybe Llama, or your own custom models that you can make use of. Microsoft Teams AI Library makes all these things very easy, including the choice of models and ability to orchestrate the various connections that you have in a solution. It also provides for ability to have chat history and things like that as part of it. It's a really it's a really wonderful tool for you to be able to use to jumpstart AI applications. Third, this demo uses a very common pattern that you would see in many of the AI applications, especially in OpenAI applications, which is called RAG. You may have heard of the term. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, where you're able to have your company documents, for example, be able to search them and use them as part of the input prompt into OpenAI. And fourthly, this demo also shows ability for you and your team's application to integrate with other company content that you may have, your organizational content. You can build that together. And lastly, you would be able to surface some of these content for a really good user experience using Adaptive Card. With that, I'm going to turn over to Danny Garber, who will be doing the demo along with me.
Thank you, Ramesh. And since you're my partner in crime, I'm going to ask you to help me to drive this demo as a colleague on the chat. So in just a few seconds, we'll share my screen. All right. So the scenario that we're going to present here is Ramesh and I, we're both members of the same organization. And Ramesh is going to get engaged with some of his customer later today as part of his meeting calendar. So Ramesh wanted to reach out to me to see if I have some supplementary information that will help him to drive his meetings. So I already see that Ramesh pinged me on Teams chat. And so just small talk away. We'll see what Ramesh is really want to ask me about it today. All right, so it seems like Ramesh is asking me if I have any latest information on Fidelity investment. I might have, but I think it's better if I just reply that actually I have a personal assistant that can help with that. So let's say, and I will engage now a personal assistant by specifying the name, it's FSI Copilot demo. I will say, please tell me about Fidelity. So that triggers Copilot, which will retrieve the information about the generic information from GPT around about the Fidelity investment. But because it also has proprietary data, which has, as Ramesh explained, is part of the retrieval augmented generations, it was able to pull out this data about the company, in this case, Fidelity Investment, that Ramesh is going to meet later on today, which should help Ramesh to prepare for that particular meeting. So Ramesh seems to be pleased with that response, and but he also wants to get some additional information, which is handily presented by Copilot. So Copilot suggested that there can be some additional follow-ups questions or prompts, and Ramesh wants to see if there's something else I can pull out from Copilot, which is what services that Fidelity Investments. So I'm going to click on this prompt. And in just a few seconds, the Copilot should be able to provide the answer to that question as well. As you can see, there's a question that was prompted, and pretty full response came back from Copilot. Now, Ramesh seems to have some other meetings, so he asked if I can get data on Google. Instead of asking Copilot in the chat, I can just use Teams feature, which is message extensions, and I can go into the message extension here, click on that, and start typing the name of the company that I want to look for. In this case, it's going to be a Google, so I just say something maybe starting with Google, and that should come back with a list of companies that matches that pattern. In this case, is the Google. So now I can click on the Google. And in just a moment, we get information on Google as was asked by Ramesh. Again, there's some prompts generated by Copilot if I want to get some additional information. But Ramesh really wants to see if there's a way I can interact directly with Copilot. So yeah, so let's see what is that we can do. Let's just go directly to the Copilot. I'll just click on Copilot, which is pinned to my Teams. It's called FSI Copilot. So now I'm in the conversation with FSI Copilot, and I can start a conversation directly. I don't need to read or ask permissions. I can just ask questions right away. So for example, I can ask, what is the history of the Microsoft? And sure enough, I get the information what the Microsoft Corporation, when it was founded, and the brief history of the company. But also another thing is that not only that Copilot can respond to direct questions, it also remembers the conversation's history. So it's like in the normal conversations, we rarely going back to mentioning the names or facts that we started the conversation with. We can just follow up, like in this example, I can say, well, since we're talking about Microsoft, now I want to know who was its founder. So I'm not specifically saying Microsoft. And the Copilot should be able to understand that we're talking about Microsoft and should respond appropriately. And sure enough, we get the answer coming back. And Copilot is so polite that it's offering me to see if I have some additional information related to financial aspects of companies that we work with. So at that point, I think that's going to conclude our demo. And we can move to the next slide. Okay, so you just saw the demo that demonstrated some functionality of personal assistant that leverages LLM model of Azure OpenAI as well as the Teams AI library. And in this diagram, in this architecture diagram, you can see essentially the connectivity between different components of these applications. From the left side, you see the end user prompting Teams chatbot through the chat in the Teams applications with the questions that those questions are naturally understood. By the way, seamlessly, you can ask Teams on different languages, and you don't need to translate it in English. It understands many languages. And so once that prompt is taken, the Teams AI library, which is embedded inside of that Copilot, is capable of understanding different intents that this user has. For example, when the generic question is asked, it can go directly into the ChatGPT LLM model and provide back the response. But if the question has some specific information, like in this demo you saw, we asked about Fidelity or Google, the Teams AI library is using the prompt engineering that was provided by developer and the augmented data that was indexed through Azure Cognitive Search, which was essentially the data that we had internally, say in organizations, maybe PDF files, maybe the Excel spreadsheets, there could be some unstructured raw data that was uploaded into Azure Data Fabric, that the Azure Cognitive Search Service has capability to index that and provide as the additional prompt into the LLM model that Teams AI library uses here. And for that, you were able to see the adaptive car coming with some potentially proprietary data, which again, it was mocked up in this demo, but you can easily draw some parallels and fill the dots in between if you have some proprietary data that you would like to make it as part of the Azure OpenAI and Teams AI library conversations. And so that's sort of like not in a nutshell, what that demo does, or what in general the Teams AI library can do. And back to you, Eunice.
Thank you, Danny. Another common scenario that has come up very frequently with our customers that have started building AI in Teams, and I believe we have a related question in chat actually, is how do we make sure that our interactions or the inputs that we give to our AI remain within a certain boundary? When you leverage Azure OpenAI, you maintain control to the Azure OpenAI instance and the LLM, meaning you can set the appropriate rules and boundaries that you choose to apply. However, within an organization, there are sometimes subgroups that want to make sure that their information remains contained inside the subgroup as well. One concept that is a common design pattern is to use a team, a Microsoft team, as your boundary. In this scenario, we are using the team as the container because all members of the team can see all of the content in all of your channels which makes it the logical choice to set that boundary. Architecturally, you can choose to apply a database that maps the team and the LLM to the document storage that backs the team, meaning you can restrict responses inside that team to documentation that's associated with the team, and also make sure that other interactions with your LLM model can't ever see that information as well. This is done using user-based access and resource-specific consent. And a table is used to map basically which documents belong to which team. This works with native Teams membership and controls, meaning that any policies you have in place today already for DLP, chat retention, e-discovery, membership controls, reporting of who's in which team, continue to apply, and it delivers an easy to understand experience. We're in the process of exploring implementing this with more customers. For detailed architecture and next steps, please reach out to your CPM. We also have a form at the end of this presentation that you can fill out for more information and to indicate your interest in the GPT in a box scenario. Move on into our next steps. Try building your very own Teams AI library to repeat the success that you've seen in the demo. We've included a link to build your first app using the Teams AI library. There are code samples both for the chat interaction and for the message extension. I think we'll be copying the links over to the chat here in a few seconds if you don't see them just yet. You can also learn more about Microsoft 365 Copilot Extensibility. All of the options available to you or that will be available to you is in that link. Continue to check back there for the most up-to-date information. What is available today is your search-based message extension, as well as a core set of graph connectors. If you're interested in extending your line of business message extension to Copilot, again, fill out the form or reach out to your CPM for more information. If you're a developer and you want to develop a plugin that works with Copilot, there is an early access program, third link on the slide. And lastly, as mentioned, we do have a form if you're interested in the architecture and the implementation about GPT in the box. Please go ahead and provide your contact information. Last call to action here before we head over into questions and open discussion. If you have a project you'd like to jumpstart in partnership with Teams Engineering, we have limited seats to enable you and your organization to bring your GPT, your enterprise-grade GPT, to production. Reach out to your Microsoft account team who will engage Teams Engineering.